I want to go to Judge Napolitano right now. He joins us out of Washington. Judge, I know, the president's a billionaire and all of this stuff, and we're talking about campaign funds and money that he had plowed in, better than $100 million. So his money, I understand that $130,000 seems relatively small, but it does stretch some credulity to me that he wouldn't know anything about it, period.
Well, I agree with you, Neil. I mean, the president is famously a person, maybe this is why he has his wealth, who knows exactly where every nickel goes. To me, it just is not credible to state and expect people to accept the argument that the president reimbursed Michael Cohen and didn't know what it was for. I mean, the way these things ordinarily work is Michael Cohen would find out how much money he had from the president to spend for this, and then the president, this is done in a series of phone calls or emails, would say, here's the deal I have for $130,000. She's going to agree to the following, and then they would cut the deal. Now, the president didn't sign the papers. His name doesn't appear in these papers. When I say papers, I'm talking about the contract, the agreement between Stormy Daniels and a fictitious person named David Dennison. So I'm not so sure that it's even enforceable. If the money came from Donald Trump's personal account, then Rudy Giuliani and the president are correct. It is of no legal moment. If the money came from campaign funds, they deny it. It would be a problem. If the money came from corporate funds, it would be a problem. That was not raised by Mayor Giuliani or addressed by him this morning.
Didn't I hear that Michael Cohen say at first this came via home equity loan? I mean, that's how it was paid for.
Yes, and that is one of the theories. We believe that the FBI obtained a search warrant for his banking records to see whether or not he told the bank what he was going to do with the money. The other interesting thing is that, of course, Michael Cohen said, I was not reimbursed for this. And the president said, famously on Air Force One about 3 or 4 times, he knew nothing about it. He didn't know anything about the money, didn't know anything about the amount, didn't know anything about the agreement. Then he went on Fox and Friends a week ago this morning and had a very lengthy sort of run-on sentence, almost disjointed interview where he dominated the interview and spoke exclusively for long periods of time, and during the course of which he said, Michael Cohen did represent me in that crazy Stormy Daniels deal. Then a week later, Rudy Giuliani goes on with our colleague Sean Hannity and eventually Fox and Friends and Maria Bartiromo and says, yes, he reimbursed Michael Cohen. So the story keeps changing.
Judge, I'm wondering why now the clarification on all of this. Did something, you think, I know it's conjecture, but did something come up in those raids, paperwork that his legal team is aware has come up, and they have to explain now? And is this explanation good enough?
Well, I think I have a pretty good window into Mayor Giuliani's mind. And he really likes to simplify legal issues as best he can. So I honestly think he wanted to get the issue of Stormy Daniels off the table, and if he could, even away from the prosecutors in Lower Manhattan. This, of course, helps Michael Cohen out a lot, though there are other things we believe for which they are still investigating him. But I think he wanted to sort of sharpen and narrow the focus of what he was going to talk to Bob Mueller about, which is, was there a conspiracy to receive assistance to the campaign from any Russians? And did you, Mr. President, interfere with a judicial proceeding, grand jury hearing, by firing Jim Comey because you were worried he was too hot on your trail? Rudy Giuliani, I think, wanted to focus on those 2 issues, and he may have succeeded in doing that. Unfortunately, he also succeeded in profoundly contradicting his own client, subjecting him to ridicule and opening up yet again whether or not, in fact, he got anything for the $130,000. Did he, in fact, have the relationship with this woman that she says he did? We all thought that by paying the $130,000, he was admitting he did. And then on Fox and Friends this morning, Mayor Giuliani said, no, he didn't have any sexual relationship with her. So what'd you pay the $130,000 for?
Well, he had said something to the effect, Rudy Giuliani, you pay these nuisances all the time. Individuals get stuck with them rather than drag it through the press and all. It seems a shame, but go ahead. I've heard that before. Does that ring hollow to you or make sense?
No, that rings true to me, and I'll even go one step further. I know of cases where people have pleaded guilty to crimes for which they, in fact, were absolutely not guilty in order to get the monkey off their back. So sometimes you do accept guilty pleas. Sometimes you do settle cases where there's no where there's no culpability. On and on and on we go.
On and on we go. Judge, thanks for taking the time. We appreciate it.
You're welcome, Neil.
Judge Napolitano now.